Silence your prayers, heretics, because the daughters of the Emperor are here to deliver divine retribution onto you. The Adeptus Sororitas are an all-female subdivision of the ecclesiarchy, and it comprises several orders. The most well-recognized of these is known as the Orders Militant, or the Sisters of Battle. These battle-hardened warrior nuns make up the militaristic force of the ecclesiarchy, and they move around the galaxy rooting out heresy and corruption. The Sisters of Battle are oftentimes tasked with retrieving holy relics, destroying hidden chaos cults, and aiding those in need of the Emperor's grace. Their faith in the Imperial Creed is absolute, and very rarely does a sister fall from their path. When a sister are fighting battles, the air will be filled with holy songs of the Imperial cult, and the power of the Emperor will present itself in the form of miracles. Enemy guns might jam, a way forward through a barricade might luckily break open, and maybe a living saint will spawn onto the battlefield to turn the tide of a war. These tough and ironically acronymed SOBs work alongside members of the other orders of the Adeptus Sororitas, such as the Orders Hospitaller and Dialogus, in order to maintain and win crusades that they find themselves in. There are several other orders with their own ranks, but in this video we will be going over the titles that are assigned within the Orders Militant. So, break out that Rosarius and start that quarter-hourly prayer. We have a galaxy of heretics to purify, and there is never enough promethium around when you need it.
O Holy Emperor, it was by your grace I survived the Schola Progenium. I won't fail you in this endeavor.
Novice. The lowest rank of the Adeptus Sororitas as a whole. They are usually young girls who have been selected from within the Schola Progenium by the drill abbesses who catch their attention. They are then shipped off to one of the two main convents of the Adeptus Sororitas. The convent Prioress is on Terra, and the convent Sanctorum is on the cardinal world of Ophelia 7. Within these buildings, the novice will live their adolescence in rigorous religious indoctrination and military training. They will learn to use their faith in the Emperor as their strength, and that he is always guiding them on the path to his side. Selflessness will be an absolute tenet that they will learn to follow, as martyrdom will be a common occurrence in their future.
O Holy Emperor, why does your grand design for the human body require blood to smell so awful?
Cantis. The novice has mastered the basic fundamentals of their duties, and is now ready to learn about what each particular order, both militant and non-militant, are capable of teaching them. The sisterhood demands that an aspiring recruit have rudimentary knowledge of the other orders, so that they can be capable of acts like healing, counseling, praying, singing, studying, and killing. A Cantis should take on the properties of a multi-purpose tool by the time they are ready for the next phase of their training. Of course, the Cantis will learn to see the Emperor's grace in all of these holy pursuits. The enemies of humanity will also be introduced to them at this stage in their training. Their overseers will instill upon them their hatred towards the mutant, the witch, and the heretic. When this stage of the training is done, the Cantis will have a better idea of which order they will want to join.
Why does it have to be just Bolter, Flamer, and Melter? The Emperor's arsenal expands beyond just those three things.
Constantia. The Cantis has advanced past the fundamentals of the orders, and is now ready to be introduced to the tools they will use to deliver divine wrath to the enemies of humanity. As a Constantia, the sister in training will learn how to wield bolters, flamers, meltas, combi weapons, chain weapons, and even plasma weapons. They will also be taught how to use faith to wound their opponents, and how holy relics can stun the faithless. A Constantia's faith will be questionless by this point, and their minds will be solely focused on carrying out the Emperor's will. They will be doubtless in their divine mission, and will aspire to complete their devotion to the Imperial Creed. Extensive knowledge of their enemies will also be imparted upon them. This will be useful when identifying hidden threats during missions. What cult will they be facing? Chaos? Gene Stealer? Tau? What mutant traits are sanctioned? Which bolt shell is the best for taking out a berserk psyker? Such usually forbidden knowledge will be paramount in understanding how best to tackle the threats they face. Armed with faith and fury, a Constantia will be ready for the real-world experience.
In his name, I take up the sisterhood. In his name, I hunt his foes. In his name, I bring his light to the galaxy.
Novitiate. Completing her training at the convent, the novitiate is allowed to accompany veteran sisters onto battlefields. Here, they will be assigned roles based on how they succeeded in the earlier stages of their journey. Novitiate superiors are full-fledged sisters of battle that will lead their understudies in a fight. On-the-job training will be the main crux of this sororitas rank. Novitiates will wear something called a ring of suffrage on their finger, showing that they fully adhere to the codes of the sisterhood. It is also at this point where they can finally become actual sisters of battle after taking their final vows to the Emperor. The ceremony of initiation takes place in the great halls of the convents with the canonesses and palatines of the different orders in attendance. They are present to welcome the new sisters that will join their respective orders. Some will go into the order's militant and become actual sisters of battle, while others will join the non-militant orders. After taking the vows of adherence, a novitiate will become a fully inducted sister.
Saints alive, that's a lot of heresy.
Sister. A sister of the Adeptus Sororitas is basically the lowest inducted rank. They have expelled all doubts about what they are getting into and have become full members of this subdivision of the ecclesiarchy. A sister will join the order they are assigned to and be fully immersed in their ways. The 6 major orders militant are the rage-filled and violent Order of the Bloody Rose, the relentless Order of Our Martyred Lady, the penitent Order of the Valorous Heart, the pious Order of the Sacred Rose, the disciplined Order of the Ebon Chalice, and the altruistic Order of the Argent Shroud. The sister could be placed in a more specialized non-militant order such as the Hospitallers or the Sabine, but in the order's militant, they will be part of the more well-known aspect of the Adeptus Sororitas. A sister will be placed into squads under the command of a sister superior. It is here that their training as a Cantis will come into play, as they will be assigned different roles to keep the squad at peak efficiency. It helps to have everyone experience some amount of medical and reconnaissance training. Sisters hold their lives in each other's hands, and when one falls, the entire squad is impacted. As rookies, they may perform inadequately in war, and the possibility of undertaking the Oath of Repentance hangs ever present over them.
If I fall here, make sure the ecclesiarchy canonizes me, that my bones become a holy blood weapon relic!
Sister Superior. A nun with responsibility over others. A Sister Superior is the equivalent of a sergeant and is charged with a squad that she commands on missions. She will be the central figure in firefights that her fellow sisters will rally around, but she can send her sisters off to do their own separate tasks. Regardless, her role on the battlefield will usually involve her being in the presence of non-Adeptus Sororitas, such as the Imperial Guard or Planetary Defense Forces. She will be an icon of which soldiers will place their faith in and remember that the Emperor fights alongside them. Experienced Sister Superiors are believed to have witnessed many miracles of faith in their long years of service. Whether these accounts are true or not, they are surely recorded within the archives of the ecclesiarchy. Do not let one catch you running away from a fight. They will remember who you are, and the Emperor will punish such cowardice.
This is what it means to be at peak performance.
Ephrael Stern. Ephrael Stern is her own thing. The Adeptus Sororitas actively hate psychers and seek to exterminate them when possible. But Ephrael is not a typical psyker. She channels psychic powers through the power of her faith, which makes her a one-woman army. She has single-handedly destroyed entire Chaos Demon invasions, guided an Imperium starship across the Great Rift, and even overloaded a Chaos warp device that was specifically built to drain her of her powers. The way in which she unlocked these powers is a tale of tragedy. Ephrael was once a Sister Superior of the Order of Our Martyred Lady. On a mission to investigate the unusual silence of a sororitas convent, she and her squad died by the hands of an escaped greater demon. The demon had turned the 700 sisters of the convent into a fleshy, unholy creation known as the Screaming Cage to sate itself on their torment. But the demon didn't realize that not only did this construct share the minds of those trapped in it, but also their faith. The trapped 700 souls used their combined efforts to revive Ephrael and unlock her abilities. Now, she is empowered by her inhuman faith in the Emperor that was granted to her by those events. But such powers terrify and are misunderstood by those ignorant of her circumstances. She has since been marked for destruction by the Ordo Hereticus branch of the Inquisition, and many attempts on her life by her fellow humans have been made. The source of her powers has been disputed for years, but being able to take down a Caluxus assassin may prove that her psychic abilities are not those of the warp, but of faith. Her unique status allows her the freedom of associating with Xenos, of which she is particularly kind to the Ynnari and the Harlequins. She is hunted, despised by her fellow sisters, and branded as a heretic, but her choice to still fight on the side of humanity is a testament to her strong force of will. The heretical saint may just be the greatest hope for the Imperium since the return of the Primarchs.
It is by sheer force of faith that the fire on our backs does not set us alight.
Legatine. Legatines are the highest-ranking units of the Order Militant, just below the command structure of the Adeptus Sororitas. They will be in the densest part of a war zone, using their years of experience to slay the enemy and inspire sisters and non-sisters with their presence. Their veteran status makes them an unstoppable force to any heretic they come across.
To lead my sisters into battle for the Emperor is one of the greatest joys I can imagine.
Palatine. The lowest commanding rank of the Sisters of Battle, Palatines are able to command an entire ship's worth of sisters and direct the movements of an entire engagement. They work directly under a Canoness and report to them from the war they are assigned to direct. A Palatine is able to coordinate the faith of her sisters towards a particular goal in their campaign. An example of such was when a Palatine led her Void Cathedram through the Great Rift into Imperium Nihilus by directing everyone on her ship to pray to the Emperor for their safe passage. Results were relative depending on who was asked.
And the Emperor doth say, the number thou shalt count to before throwing thine holy crack grenades shall be 3.
Canoness. A veteran Sister of Battle that is given a massive amount of power over the sisters in their particular order. The organization of Canonesses comes in 3 forms. There are the Canoness Commanders, which watch over approximately 200 sisters in a commandery. Then there's the Canoness Preceptors, who command over 1,000 sisters in a preceptory. And finally there are the Canoness Superiors, who lead an entire order. Canoness Superiors are the ones that are also instructed to head wars of faith, should they be demanded by the Ecclesiarch, the head of the imperial cult. Minor orders of the Order's Militant are usually led by just one Canoness, and they are outranked by those of a major order. A Canoness is not only a blessed veteran of the Adeptus Sororitas, but they are also a tactical genius. They need to be to control the progress of whatever theater of war they find themselves in. It is their job to allocate the resources of their order, and they do it with little oversight from those above them. Their decisions are usually based around their interpretation of the Emperor's will, and their faith in that helps them believe that little will go awry from what they plan. A Canoness must be vigilant towards the spiritual purity of their sisters, and guide them in times of doubt and faithlessness. They will be present during the day new sisters are allowed within the ranks of the Adeptus Sororitas, after performing their rites of initiation. The life of a Canoness is one of constant monitoring, so that their order can keep delivering the Emperor's will to the galaxy.
Another batch of novices for my convent. Good. The Indominus Crusade needs more prayer.
Prioress. The second highest position of command within the Sisters of Battle. They are the leaders of the two main convents, Prioress and Sanctorum. As such, there are only two prioresses in the Imperium. The Prioress of Convent Sanctorum monitors the orders of the Bloody Rose, Our Martyred Lady, and Valorous Heart. The one monitoring Convent Prioress is responsible for the orders of the Sacred Rose, Ebon Chalice, and Argent Shroud. It is a largely administrative position, as much resource allocation and structural organization is necessary when running an entire convent. Their position makes them incredibly entrenched in politics, but their faith in the Emperor pushes them through such ennui. A prioress will rarely see battle, but she will be a figure of great respect and spiritual faith for her sisters.
This is no time for politics. There is a crusade going on, and I will deliver his judgment to his foes.
Abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas. The highest rank within the entirety of the Adeptus Sororitas. It is a position appointed by the ecclesiarch to a sister that is deemed suitable for the role. Sometimes the decision is made with the intent of electing someone who is easy for the ministorum to control. Given the humble disposition of the sisters, it has been a tradition that the post goes to someone the least likely to want it. The sister chosen will then go on a pilgrimage to the planet of San Lior, where the culture of the sisters originated. When they return, they take up the title of Abbess and lead the Adeptus Sororitas. At times, the rank can also be included among the High 12 as a High Lords of Terra position. Currently, the Abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas holds such power and has been backed by the Primarch Robute Gilliman himself. Morven Val leads the Adeptus Sororitas now, with complete control and a disgust of politics. Where the ecclesiarch thought he would have a useful pawn, Morven Val shocked him in the entire ministorum by leaving her political responsibilities in the hands of her more experienced Orders Dialogus and Orders Famulus sisters. Now, she commands the Adeptus Sororitas personally from the front lines in crusades to reclaim worlds lost from the opening of the Great Rift. The main purpose of this being to stitch back together the shattered orders within the Imperium Nihilus. Morven Val was also instrumental in helping Gilliman reduce matters of bureaucracy within the Imperium in what would be known as the Primarch's Scourge. The trust placed upon her has also been noticed by those closest to the Emperor, as she was gifted a custodian relic power spear, technology that they would rarely ever want to part with. It seems that the ecclesiarch was trying to play a game of regicide, but his intended pawn put him in checkmate. He can't go against the drive of the Abbess, as she has the Primarch's holy support. The current Abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas is on the warpath, and the enemies of the Imperium will find out the hard way what it means to be granted his divine judgment. If you like nuns in power armor, holy water used as a weapon, and literal churches dropping from orbit onto the filth of humanity, then the SOBs are the faction for you. Thanks again to Roscar for the character illustrations of this video. I'm not normally a Sisters fan, but they are pretty interesting to read about. Faith is looking like it's trying to distinguish itself from warp shenanigans given the context of the Pariah Nexus, but what do you all think? Comment below. I'm thinking my next video will be a candidate for best lore video on this channel.